Hey guys, welcome back. Joseph James here. Want to go over more information about our pace of the tape indicator. Now what is it? The pace of the tape, again, is a proprietary indicator available to our advanced members only, and you're going to own it. So you own the code, you can choose what to do it from there forward. And basically what the pace of the tape does is it quantifies the speed of your time and sales window. That's right. It quantifies the speed of the tape. Doesn't count volume, doesn't count contracts. All it does is quantify the speed. So we use this on a time chart to see our ticks per minute, right? Or your ticks per second. Just like the RPM for a car, right? Just like the revolutions per minute on your car, right? Shows you how fast the engine's working. The speed of the tape is quantified by the pace of the tape. So we call it the speedometer for our time and sales window. Now, it's watched closely around major levels of support and resistance. Once we identify an important level of support and resistance, we then look for the reaction around that level, and we use the pace of the tape indicator. Once we see that reaction, we can then, of course, look for conviction as far as which direction to trade in or whether to take any trade at all. But basically, the pace of the tape with the quantification of the speed of the time and sales window, we look to see the speed increase or decrease around important levels of support and resistance. And of course, we see patterns develop on our pace of the tape that are a lot easier to see than on your time and sales window. All right, now we, of course, every day have more members that come in and they admit they can't trade without this tool. So if there's one major development that's happened in our trade methodology the last couple of years, it's been this indicator, the pace of the tape indicator. Right? Not many people now are able to trade without it. And of course, we'll show you guys how we use it in our live trade room. Let's talk about how we use it though. We can use it basically for three different ways: entries, exits, and sentiment. Now for entries, we're looking again for patterns. So we look for patterns on our pace of the tape indicator to look for increasing versus decreasing price action at your point of entry. And of course, we'll tell you guys all about what to do with those patterns in our live trade room. Now, of course, in exits, we want to know when to hold them and when to fold them, right? I want to know when to let my trade run or when to take my money and run, right? When do you leave that final contract running or when do you take your profit out of the market? Knowing what the patterns look like and using the pace of the tape will help you plan your exits a lot better. And by all means, guys, the biggest benefit of this thing is the overall market sentiment. And we go over this every single day in our trade room. We use the overall market sentiment it seems like every 5 minutes, we're seeing some pattern that tells us more about what the market's trying to tell us. We look for these patterns around those major levels of support and resistance, and how those patterns look, how the price action reacts around those levels gives us a definite heads up of what the market sentiment is. And as you guys know, we use that market sentiment to make educated trading decisions. Let's look at some examples of the pace of the tape as you guys can use it on your charts. Now here's an example of a spike in the speed of the tape. We see this happen all the time. Price goes from slow to very fast right away, and we oftentimes end up chasing after these trades and missing out on the move when it begins. We get bad fill all the way at the high, and then we get stopped out when price collapses back down. A spike on the pace of the tape, obviously when confirmed with a spike on your charts, another pattern that we use, just simply using these patterns on our pace of the tape indicator. So again, I'm using it on a very fast time frame here to be able to quantify the actual speed of that time and sales window. And as you can see on this screenshot, there are definite patterns from red to yellow to red to yellow back to red, and then boom, it explodes to the green. And this is one of those patterns that is so much easier to see on your pace of the tape than it is on your time and sales window. Here's another pattern, right? This, of course, double tops, triple tops. This pattern here, we were looking for a two-step long in this example here on the euro, but of course we decided to stay away from the two-step long because we saw a pattern of decreasing price action, and we already knew by looking at our pace of the tape, and you can see it right here, yellow to green, yellow to green, yellow to green, then down to red. We knew by simply looking at the pace of the tape that we had choppy price action, right? Up and down, up and down. Now this is a pattern that you can't even see on your time and sales window. On your time and sales window, all you have is the last couple seconds of price action. On your pace of the tape, as you can see, I've got 4, 5, 10, even 20 minutes of price action behind me. So I can easily glance back at my pace of the tape and I can see those patterns develop where I would have never been able to see those patterns develop on my time and sales window. And again, we use things like increasing speed, decreasing speed to make educated decisions on where we want to get in or get out of our trades. Let's keep moving. Here's another example. Now, this example is pretty much one of the most common you guys are going to see every day in our trade room, and one of the most common ways we use the pace of the tape and the patterns we see on this chart. Now, for this example here on the crude, we were looking for a wave long. And as you guys know, a wave is a pullback, right? It's a breakout within a pullback, and we enter at the pullback back to our trigger line. Well, one of the biggest obstacles we have to overcome when it comes to buying a pullback is knowing when that pullback will become a reversal. right? How do we know that buying that pullback or selling that retracement is not going to be a full-blown reversal? Well, on this particular wave setup alongside here, we used a very common pattern, a decreasing pattern on the pace of the tape. And as you can see, this pattern in the lower right-hand corner here is so much easier to spot than it is on your time and sales window. You definitely could read the time and sales window. You definitely could, of course, look at your ticker tape and see it slowing down. But of course, the naked eye have a much easier time seeing the pace of the tape and the patterns develop. That makes learning how to read the tape and using it, right, to make money or to avoid these bad trades. Avoiding the bad trades, maximizing the good trades, guys, it's all a day's work here with the pace of the tape indicator. Again, it's called the speedometer of our time and sales window. Let's recap. Again, the pace of the tape, only our advanced members own it. It quantifies the speed of the time and sales window. We use it on a very quick time chart to see the ticks per minute or the ticks per second, right? Just like revolutions per minute or RPMs on the engine of your car. It's the speedometer of our time and sales window. Now we watch this pace of the tape indicator very closely around major levels of support and resistance, and we look to see patterns develop on our time and sales window reflected on our pace of the tape indicator. And basically, guys, every day new members tell me they cannot trade without this valuable tool. Pick up a copy of that advanced course, guys. Become a lifetime member, and you too will be using the pace of the tape as well. Again, guys, my name is Joseph James. Hope the video helps. We'll see you guys next time.